Reportedly, around 12 million Christians have been displaced by this, and around 7,000 Christians have been killed this year. So these are people who are explicitly being targeted for their faith, civilians being targeted. At least with Palestine, I'm not trying to minimize the suffering of what's occurring in Palestine, but at least in Palestine, there's some degree of debate as to how much of this is just civilian casualties, people caught in the crossfire of a larger conflict targeting Hamas, versus how many people are actually being targeted as civilians.
Well, this gentleman has something to say to the Free Palestine movement, as they seem to show no sympathy or remorse or even acknowledging other atrocities of other kids in the world. It's just about the people inside the Gaza Strip, and all the other people, including Christian children who are getting slaughtered as I'm making this video, don't matter. And this is the hypocrisy that I've been talking about for almost 2 years. And now you have day-to-day people like him, who I'm about to show you, talking about it too. I'm the other Barak, and I'm coming to you live and direct here from the Holy Land in Israel. It is Wednesday, October 1st. We are heading into Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, and I wanted to make sure that I got out some content here for you. So depending on when this is released, I just want to let you know, I got my white collared shirt on, I'm ready to go to synagogue, and I'm excited for some reflection. Before we get into the video, 80% of you are not subscribed to this channel. Folks, we put out 3 to 4 videos a day here. It's a lot of content to keep up with. Please take a second, press that subscribe button, press that bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of the action, and we have a free newsletter right to your inbox every single week, which is heating up. The link is in the description. Here's
The Free Palestine crowd has nothing to say about the 300,000 children that have reportedly died ever since Boko Haram, an Islamic extremist group, started this insurgency in 2009 to try and establish a caliphate in Nigeria. Reportedly, around 12 million Christians have been displaced by this, and around 7,000 Christians have been killed this year. So these are people who are explicitly being targeted for their faith, civilians being targeted. At least with Palestine, I'm not trying to minimize the suffering of what's occurring in Palestine, but at least in Palestine, there's some degree of debate as to how much of this is just civilian casualties, people caught in the crossfire of a larger conflict targeting Hamas, versus how many people are actually being targeted as civilians. Whereas in Nigeria, we have a situation where these are people who are explicitly being targeted as civilians for their faith, and nobody seems to be talking about it, probably because it doesn't fit the narrative. You have an Islamic extremist group explicitly targeting Christians.
Not probably because it doesn't fit the narrative, bro. Because it doesn't fit the narrative. This guy fucking applied logic. Thank you. Thank you. Toda rabba, we say in Hebrew. Ach sheli, my brother. You see what he did there? You see what he did? He looked at the semantics, which are important in this case, of how the war is being waged. Not the war. It's more than just the war. War is ugly. War anywhere is ugly. War anywhere is bad. War on Instagram, war on TikTok, war on YouTube, war in the East, war in the West, war in the Middle East. And war is bad. You can't tell me that there's a good war somewhere where you enjoy the causes effect of war. How the war is occurring really fucking matters when we evaluate everything. How the war is being waged by the Israeli Defense Forces, how the war is being waged by Hamas, are two really fucking important conversations that we have lost attention to detail for. How we've lost it blows my mind. Because losing that is essentially losing a prerequisite to have the ability to understand the morality being waged, or lack thereof, in this fucking war. In Nigeria, like he mentioned, it doesn't matter who you are. If you are not a part of radical Islamist militia groups, you will get slaughtered. The period goes there, and the end of story continues. If you are an Israeli Defense Force military, and you are in the Gaza Strip, it really fucking matters who is in the war field, the war zone. It really matters if you have identified a military target or if that person is not a military target. It really matters It will dictate what decisions and what next steps are made. It's not a free-for-all Call of Duty. There's so much, I don't even know where to start, bro. There's so many different steps. Do you guys know how difficult it is in the IDF to get permission to fire your gun? I was talking to my friend Noy about this. He talks about this publicly on his platform, Noy Leb. Go look at it. To get permission to fire your gun, once you get that permission, you already went through an assembly line of people to speak to basically get the confirmation that the proof and evidence and what you are basically reporting as to what you see, given the field, the environment, the resources, is enough to confirm that what you have in front of you is in fact a military target, which gives you the ability to proceed. If you don't get that confirmation, you can't shoot. In Nigeria, there's no fucking questioning. You just pull the trigger. In Syria, there's no questioning. You pull the trigger. In Lebanon, there's no questioning. You pull the trigger. In Iran, in Gaza, in the West Bank, there's no questioning. You pull the trigger. In an organized military, there's questioning, there's protocol, there are steps, there's precaution, there's mitigation, there's trying to limit the possibility of killing people who do not belong being killed. That is what the IDF does. It is so hard for people to digest that because videos only show them a very confined time, a very confined moment in time, if you will. So they lose context. How did we end up getting to that video? What happened before the video? Who's involved in the video? There's a gajillion variables that go into every video, but those variables seemingly don't matter anymore. This is the beauty of the propaganda machine for Hamas, because they realize that people aren't intelligent enough to ask the fucking questions he's asking in the video. He's a special person. Somebody find me this man so I can thank him and we can get other people to see how thinking should be applied in this war. We don't think like this anymore. In fact, we've stepped away from it because we're just overly emotional. That's what people do when they're overly emotional. They don't use information. They are driven by emotions, which is where we are. I've been saying it. I feel like you guys are probably sick and tired of me saying that shit, but how could you be sick and tired of me when it's as fucking obvious as anything? It's the most important thing. That's why I love coming across people like this who have some decency to actually admit that, holy shit, maybe we didn't have this thing right the whole time. That's why we got receipts. Thank you so much for all your support. If you are observing Yom Kippur, I wish you a very meaningful Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, reflection, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Here's a note from me. Here are 4 ways you can help us grow if you believe in our mission. On Buy Me a Coffee and PayPal, you can directly contribute to helping this message grow and reach more people across the world. If you want to join the inner circle, join our Patreon with different tiers, and of course, our Discord community, which is free with people from all across the world. The links to every single one are in the description. And last but not least, to the other Brock community, I love you. Ani ohev otchem. I'll see you guys next time.